How do you do? This is Roger Hill of Wuthering Heights Consulting. This is the Velco Thursday morning weather outlook carried over into Wednesday of next week. This is the 500 millibar pattern here, and this is updated from using the 0Z European computer model. And so what we have here is kind of a interesting thing. We have double areas of low pressure, one over the Gulf of Alaska, which has been pretty constant. Also an area very much anchored over the Hudson Bay of Canada. This has been providing these bouts of cool, clean, clear air, although a ridge in between producing quite a bit of smoke from forest fires. So this is how the trends are. This is the 500 millibar chart, sort of catching the lowest layers of the jet stream, and we'll take you through Saturday. This is Friday. You can see how everything evolves here, but we have a more or less a zonal flow, almost just about due west to east. This is going to be picking up some of that smoke and driving it east, but a pretty decent weather scenario here with a surface area of higher pressure building in across the Great Lakes and the northeast United States. But things do start to change on Saturday. A little disturbance will start to work in across northern sections of the state of Vermont, and a broad upper level trough sort of working its way, pivoting to the south and east around that upper level system located over Hudson Bay. And this is going to be problematic because it's going to drive a lot of moisture north, and we'll take a look at the 850 millibar here in just a second. So at 850 millibars, approximately the top of Mount Mansfield, the height here, it shows this afternoon on Thursday, some cooler air aloft associated with that upper level system. This has been moving in periodically across the Great Lakes. They haven't seen much of a summer in parts of the Ohio River Valley as well as the Great Lakes, interesting enough. It's been brutally hot across the west, of course, mostly the west coast. A little different scenario here with that Gulf of Alaska low with some jet stream energy allowing to cool things off. But needless to say, it's been producing this ridge of higher pressure, and hence some of that smoke and some of those forest fires that are out of control with very warm conditions located here. Well, here's how the scenario plays now. This again is for Thursday afternoon, so we'll take a look at that. And then as we get into Thursday night and Friday, you can see that that cooler air begins to work out of the region, kind of swinging out and beginning to modify and dissipate and start to become replaced with a little batch of warmer air as this all begins to work in. This is along about really Saturday night, Sunday morning, and it's not super warm, but this warmth is going to be interacting with Vermont, and this is going to be problematic because we're looking at a much better chance now for more thunderstorm activity. This looks like it'll be Sunday, Monday, and perhaps into Tuesday of next week. So kind of carrying that forward here, you can see that this is valid 0Z. That'd be 8 o'clock on Sunday evening at 850 millibars, and then of course cooler air begins to drive east and eventually get into our neck of the woods, which will, well, create an area of higher pressure and cool, clean, clear conditions and knock down any instability, it looks like, as we get into the early to middle part of next week, or more mid to end of next week, I should say. Okay, this is the surface chart. So at the surface, you can see precipitation as well as the high and low pressure centers as they move on through. First of all, we have an area of higher pressure located over the Great Lakes. This is valid later today and Thursday, and then it builds into the region on Friday, bringing us a real nice day, and then kind of dampens out. You might note that some precipitation located over the Great Lakes, the eastern Great Lakes, and parts of New York, St. Lawrence River Valley, is going to be starting to work into the region on Saturday. It's fairly flimsy, so we're not looking at a lot of it, but you can see that we're starting to get in a little bit of light precipitation. And this is part and parcel to do with some overriding warm air advection, and this is going to set us up for some showers and thunderstorms on Sunday. So as we get into Sunday, this would be Saturday night, and now we're into Sunday, you can start to see that we're into much more of a stormy or weather pattern. And right now it looks like there is the potential for some thunderstorm activity with the jet stream winds aloft anyway, with the bulk shear or winds aloft greater than 40 knots. Instability is also high, and I'll get to that in a second. But this could be problematic for us. So there's the area of low pressure, upper levels, and at the surface. And this is going to be moving through Vermont with some pretty heavy-duty precipitation along with a lot of moisture. As we get into, that's on basically Monday night. As we get into Tuesday, we start to see all of that swing out of the region. High pressure then begins to build into the region, and much better weather to follow, of course, cooler and drier. and this is as we get into next week. Okay, quick look at convective available potential energy, or otherwise we call CAPES. You might notice that we're looking at a little bit of business in Vermont here. This is along about late Friday. I'm not anticipating any precipitation associated with those little stronger updrafts, but there is going to be some instability we'll have to watch. Probably pop some cumulus clouds here and there. But as we get into Saturday, a little bit of business, nothing to really worry about there. We get into Saturday night and Sunday, you start to see conditions change here, and this is what's a little bit more concerning. So Sunday, we'll have to watch it very carefully, but I am anticipating now some strong thunderstorm activity mixed in. What's going against this is the temperatures in Vermont are not going to be very high, a lot closer to 70 degrees than, say, 80 degrees. So this instability may be a little bit overdone. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. And then as we get into Monday, you can see that it's still lingering there along with that 995 area of low pressure. And notice the capes down here are super high, so a lot of thunderstorm activity on its southeastern flank, and this is something that's going to be problematic. We'll have to keep a close eye on it. Now, this is the European model. It's pretty accurate, but doesn't always depict exactly what's going to happen, but you can get a general idea, sort of ballpark idea. Now, eventually, all of that convective available potential energy is going to be reduced. The atmosphere is going to stabilize considerably as an area of higher pressure builds in as we get into the middle part of next week. So not anticipating anything after really about probably Tuesday afternoon. But the period in question, and something we're going to have to keep a close eye on, is definitely that period for basically Sunday through Monday and probably part of Tuesday of next week. Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights Consulting.